It's good to be back here. I love doing seminars. I've been a part of winning teams. I've been a part of losing teams. I've led winning teams. I've led losing teams. But you know what I found out? The difference in the teams are the people they put on them. And I gotta say this. Not everybody can do what you do. I was talking to Pat at the food show. And we got to talking, and he was bragging about his team. And I said, I would love to meet your team. And here I am. So I just appreciate Pat bringing me out here. I got up this morning at 4:30, got in the car, and I drove straight through. Well, not quite straight through. I had stopped to get gas in Harmony. But the thing about it was, it's a beautiful drive, a lot of thinking time. And I got to spend about an hour in your store today. I got to walk in the back room. I got to see the stuff. It's a beautiful store. And I do seminars all over the country. I've done them in Vegas. This whole week I was in South Dakota. I left there and came here. But I get to see a lot of stores. I get to see a lot of teams. I'm in all kinds of businesses. And you got a beautiful store. I've talked to some of your customers today. There's a gentleman by the name of Robert Gross. He lives 2 towns over. He's the veteran employment specialist for the Houston County. And I said, why do you like coming here? And he said, all the employees are crazy. No, he didn't. He said, you know, for a town and a community this size, this grocery store has better variety than most big stores. And he said, the pricing is excellent. And he said, the employees are really friendly. So that's huge, because that's how you know if you're doing it right, is through your customers. But we're going to talk about customer service, and I'm going to pick on a few of you. And I usually pick on the ones that are either falling asleep or they won't look at me. Now, that doesn't mean you eyeball me, because you know, be like, thing about it is, customer service is what separates us from everybody else. I talked to an elderly lady. I said, ma'am, can I help you find something? After she got through having the nitroglycerin pills, because I'm maybe a little more high energy than most people. But she goes, no, I'm just browsing. She had a half a cart full just browsing. So that's kind of cool. I'm like, keep browsing. Get more stuff. Go to the browsing aisle. But this is where it's at, folks. They're not an interruption in our day. We are the ones that got to keep them coming back in. And folks, not everybody can do what you do. I guarantee it. People that are in the customer service business are special. And I mean that, because they've got to have a caring attitude. They've got to have a big heart. They got to want to serve others. If they don't like people, they shouldn't be in the business. I was in Mission, South Dakota, and I was doing this seminar, and I got to this point, and this one kid said, I hate people. I said, is that right? I said, that's awesome. I said, at least you know. I said, you shouldn't be in the business. I said, what are you going to do when you graduate high school? As a high school senior, he said, I've already enrolled in college, and I'm going to be a building contractor. I said, that's great. I said, what's going to happen when you get through with your first house, and you bring the customer in, and you're just all giddy, because you know they're going to give you a check, and they walk in the kitchen, and all the cupboards are wrong. What are you going to do? He said, well, I'm going to fix it. You're going to be in the service business, son, whether you like people or not. You better get used to it. The only industry I know that really doesn't deal with people that are able to say is digging the grave. Be a mortician. They won't talk back. Here's what happens. Here's what happens, folks. The top 10 retailers in the country, there they are. The bottom 10 over here. 10 years ago, Kmart was right here. Now, what would cause Kmart to go from the second best in the country to the bottom 20, the bottom 10? You know what? Back then, if you recall, how many's been to a Kmart? How many remember the blue light special? Whoop, whoop. Every time that light came on, I thought the cops were after me. I go, damn, they're coming to get me in the store too? Thing about it is they did some things back then that kept the customers coming in. What happened when that blue light went off? You weren't prepared. You got run over. We got a blue light special in this morning. It's good. We got racquetballs and rackets on sale for half price. Anybody want to come and get them? Man, people would run you over. That was a shopping experience. And it was fun. And people would sit there waiting for the light. Huh? You were there, weren't you? You were like, okay. You had your tennis shoes on. It's like, I can beat them there, Mom. I'll put the first one in a chokehold. It's not that hard. I stopped in 4 businesses coming out here today besides Perkins. I had 2 gas stations and then the young man that sent me astray. The only kid that said hi was the guy that knew he was fixing to send me the wrong way. Hey, what's up? Thing about it is he had a good time. I didn't. I broke out in a sweat. Not one of those places greeted me. Not one of them. Now, when I came in the store today, the young lady that was working, Danielle, where you at? You were busy. And that's cool. But then as I went around, the first person I came in contact with was Jeannie. And you know what? As I walked by, she looked at me like, "You're not, that's not true." She said, "How you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing great." And then I stopped. And then she says, "Can I help you with something?" That is what customer service is all about. That's what it's all about. That's the start of it right there. So I appreciate that. And you were busy, so I didn't expect you to say, "Hold on, customer. What?" No, don't do that. That's not what it's about. You can tell when people like what they're doing. I am a lucky man. I get to do what I do every day. This is what I do. And I love it because I was dropped on my head as a kid. But I like doing this stuff. But see, you find something that you're good at. You find something you're passionate about. Man, when you go to work, it's over. Everybody goes, "Damn, are you always this happy?" Just until I get bad instruction. I'm going to go back and find that young kid. I got all night. We're going to talk about creating conditions for success because every day, let me ask you, how many's been to Disney World? You have, really? Twins? You go together? Of course you did. Well, Mom took her and Dad took me. We don't get along. Do you like it? Let me ask you this. They spent a lot of time and money to get that paid for, didn't they? They saved up their quarters or whatever. But it costs a lot of money. I went there in 1986 with my kids, and they were like this high. And it still costs us a gazillion $5 to get in. But here's my point. Let's say you save your money and you go to Disney World and you get down there and you're happier and you go in the gate and Goofy's having a bad day. And you go, "Oh, Goofy!" You go, "Get away from me, kid!" How are you going to feel? You can't afford to have a bad day, can you? It's the same in the service business. One bad day can cause you more pain than you need. Would you like that? "Don't make me whoop you, Goofy." Is that what you do? Me and my twin sister will tear you up. But every day you gotta go to work. Believe me, when I wake up in the morning, if I'm not ready to go, I find something that puts me in the mood to go. You know what I mean? When it comes to doing these seminars, I love Josh Groban. I love Bob Seger. I mean, coming down the highway today, I was lucky I didn't get picked up for noise violation because it's as high as it could go. People driving by me going, "What's up with that guy?" I'm head banging. No, not quite that bad. But you got to be ready every day. You can't take a day off. How can you take a day off? You take a day off, you go to work and you're having a bad day, you just made the customer's life miserable. We'll talk about that in a little bit.